What's up, guys? Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Voodoo Monkey Garage. All right, 2019 Kia Sorento. I know, we've been working on this thing a lot, haven't we? We decided to make a few videos because we're doing a lot of different things to this, and we could have done it all at one time, but you might be searching for this specific thing, which is the drinker side rear window regulator. You ever roll up your window and you hear and then the window goes boom? Your window regulator went out. It's not your motor. Most likely it's not your motor. Like, rarely do I see the motors actually bad on these things. It's always the window regulators, a bunch of cables and plastic and all that kind of stuff. So just realize that if it's crunching or you're rolling it down and it's going up, your window regulator is bad. It's just all bound and winding and doing weird stuff in there. So that's what's happening on this one here. You can see that our customer has done some lovely tape job on this thing. Just an amazing job. So this is not going to be my responsibility getting this off of the window tint. I am not handling that. I don't recommend using Gorilla Tape for something like this. If anything, slide the window up in the time that you're working on it, and I would jam a wedge down in here, like fold up some paper into like a triangle shape, like a wedge, and cram it down in there to hold the glass, like pinch it. If anything, use that blue masking tape because it doesn't damage all of this. This is going to be a fun project for them to remove this now, but that's their project to do, not mine. I've got it still on the lift from us working on it, so I'm trying to bring it up to my angle a little bit more, my height, because the old backbone is killing me, you know what I mean? And there's my ride. Anyways, there's gonna be one screw on this thing, so you know, and we're gonna try and go through this as quick as possible. We are losing the God's daylight here, God's light, you know, and then God's shop. And I'm getting the mosquitoes biting down on my legs, so we're trying to do the little dance here and all that stuff. So step one, open your door. Yeah, good step, right? Step two, down here underneath all this, there's a plate. See the little guy right there? Sorry, see that guy right there? Just gonna carefully take a little pick, and that guy should open up, and it's gonna drop downwards, and that'll expose you a Phillips head screw right there. We're gonna have to remove that screw and get a little violent with this door panel. That's the fun part about doing these. And pop this door panel off. Let me get that screw out of there, and we'll show you this door panel coming off. We're gonna try and get this guy off of here. It gives me a little bit of a grab point right here. Oh, that feels so good. I love that. This guy's got to come off too, by the way. This one's might be a little bit more careful with because it's just thin and tiny, and all these little plastic pieces like to break, and that's what you're fighting against, are these little Christmas trees that pop down into these holes right here. But we know this guy has to come off because the door panel, every door panel typically has a lip, and it sits down along in this edge. So when we get this all pop free, you're gonna have to lift up on it a little bit to get it out of that edge. We're gonna leave this sort of taped up because it's better to have the glass up. Let me tell you this right now. If you have tinted windows, which if you're in Arizona, you definitely do. If you don't, go get them tinted, trust me. You don't want your glass down while you're doing this. You're gonna be moving pieces in and out sometimes, and they can scratch your tint, so you don't want that in there, okay? But now that we've gotten this corner loose, they do give you a grab handle over here, which is really nice. There's a slight indent in the door here. Right down here, there we go. There's a slight indent in the door, and that allows you, they actually overlap the panel, so it's really nice. It gives you a good grab point to pull that. And then we're just gonna kind of come along this edge here, kind of cram our fingers down in here. If you have to, you can put a foot against the door, and we're just gonna try and go. What I try to do is find out where those little guys pop out, and I try to put my hand as close to it as possible, because that allows me to kind of make sure we're not breaking the bracket that's holding those little clips in. There we go, that should be the last one. And see, we just lift up, and we'll move it out, and now the fun begins. You can already see the panel we're gonna be replacing, but we got to get the rest of this off, which means we're going to have some connections that we got to handle here. So we got to take all these guys off of here. We're just going to remove this, and then we're going to move the electrical down here, and it'll allow us access to all of this. So unclip the electrical panel here, or the electrical cord here, and then this guy there's a clip right here between the two cables. Okay, some guys will say, there's a clip right here, bink, and it comes off, right? Well, there's not a clip right here. There's a clip right here between the two cables. And we're just gonna pull back on that, and it'll automatically just release itself, and that gets you up out of the way. Go ahead and take your panel, set it aside somewhere out of the way. We're gonna put it behind here so it stays clean-ish. Keep it in the same condition the customer had it, right? Put all your parts in one spot. That way you know that you didn't leave anything behind. All right, now we gotta get this whole panel off. I'm gonna go get the new panel, bring it over here, and then we'll start disassembly on all of this. Be right back. All right, so one of the next steps we're gonna do is we've got this little doodabber here that we've got to disassemble, because these two cables are gonna end up having to feed through the panel that we're replacing. This entire panel, we're gonna end up taking all these screws off, but before we do that, I'm gonna leave this all together while I disassemble. So we need to take all the electrical connectors off, the speaker wires, there's an electrical connector down here for the motor, and then all these little keepers. I've got these little handy dandy pliers we got from Hobo Freight, and these are perfect because they go right around that little grippy guy. They'll slide in here. Usually they will, if you can get a position in them. Sometimes they work great, sometimes they don't, but they're pretty good at pulling these Christmas trees and helping, especially when you have room to get to them. I don't recommend always trying to get it by the wire, but sometimes you don't really have a choice on where you're prying from, because it's got to catch the top and the bottom. But we just got to get all these guys off of here and loose and freed, because we're going to be running all this wiring through this hole right here. So we got to feed the wiring back through the new one. We're going to remove this motor down here, and we're going to remove speakers, swap it over. So I'm going to do all that off camera here. You guys can get those things undone yourself. You can unplug these things yourself. They're just all pretty simple plugs. They just all undo. So you can get all that done. These guys on both sides here. This just unplugs here, and that guy will unplug. But here's what you want to know is how to get this off. So we're just going to pop this up. It's in that little keeper right there, and you could just, they'll almost fall out, right? So it's in the little keeper. Sometimes they put it in this little spot. These little fingers, man, get in here. I don't have little fingers. Might need to get a, there we go. And they'll just twist out, and that brings that guy out of you, or out of this system. If you bent that wire, it's okay. You can bend it back, straighten it, it's fine. That little cable, we can straighten that out, and that's gonna be okay. It's gonna happen. If you're worried about that, get a little screwdriver, something underneath there, and just pop it free. And then go ahead and undo all your electrical connections. We'll come back and show you that once I get all this undone from the panel. All right, I got ahead of you guys. Sorry, I got a little carried away. We're losing daylight quick. 4 screws holding your speaker. Those are 8 millimeters. There's 3 screws that hold in your motor. Those are 7 millimeter. So we went ahead and go, I'm pretty sure there's 7. What is that? I can't read. 7 mils. And then you got all these screws that hold in the panel. Pretty easy, short little guys. They come right out. Set them aside, and then we'll pull this panel off. And you can see where our problem is. Well, there's your problem. So that's our problem right there. They give you a little go handle, kind of nice. And don't forget one. Or are we just stuck? What are we stuck on? Holy crap. Okay, there we go. Gotta lift up the bottom just a little bit. Bring the bottom top down. And what is going on here? Let's see here. Something is holding this guy up still. Not sure what it is. Shouldn't be much holding this up. We're gonna squeeze these guys in because we know that they've got to go in. These rubber grommets. So this guy's gonna go in. This guy's gonna go in. That might free us up a little bit. We'll see. Then these guys have to go in too. All of these things have got to squeeze in because they're going to come through this panel. This is a little bit annoying. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's just a little annoying. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see here. Where is that screw? There she is. Pull that plug and we got a screw right there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. We'll pull that little guy out. That's awesome. Good spot for that. Hyundai, what is this? Kia, whatever this thing is. It's a good spot for that. All right, that gives us that freedom. Let's pull some of this out, hopefully. I am just baffled by you. Why do you put all this stuff on here and make this so difficult? I mean, honestly, this is just, I mean, this is dumb. Really, really dumb that they do this. How's all that connected? There we go. That should come off of there, because you're not really attached. Except for you are. It should slide off of there, but it's not. All right. That's my flathead. They made these just really annoying. Almost like they want them to break on you. If I can get this apart, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. This should slide out, and it's got a little clip on the back side. It's just not wanting to release. Release, dang it, release. Oh, there we go. Well, that was interesting. Okay, sure. Perfect. Comes out just easy like that. Everything should just come right apart. Simple as that, right? Sure. Now you gotta undo all these little clippy doodabbers. I don't know what that... Now I see what your problem is. You wanted me to put you back up. What you wanted? Interesting. So what you have is this little plastic guy here, and it slides in to this spot right here, and it locks in. And that's what we were bound on, was that. We were trying to get that off. I was lifting up on that, and it just wasn't wanting to come undone. But we got her undone. We got her done now. She's fixed. She's fixed. All right, and then we lost a screw down in here somewhere, so we'll fish that out. Somewhere? Hello? And we'll get all that put back together. There's also a plug all the way up inside of there that you got to undo. I didn't realize that one. But that's okay. So we'll get all this stuff unhooked from the back of it, and then we'll get the new one going in. Simple as that. Amen. All right, we'll bring you guys back as we're going together. All right, we got light now, just so you know. So that's why it looks so pretty, because you can see me more. All right, we fed the stuff through and back through and around and through. You got this guy that's got to connect up inside of here. You're just gonna have to trust me. It's up in there. You can feel for it. And it connects back onto your door lock assemblies somehow, some way. You have to trust me, it goes back on there. At least that's what they told me. It's got to go back on there somehow. Some way. Oh, there we go. Yep, just so you know. Ugh. Your connector is towards the inside of the door. Yeah, you probably aren't going to be able to see it. You have to go a little Helen Keller with it. Just feel your way through, you know? Oh boy. Then we're going to feed both these cables back through. And then we're going to come back through and we're going to connect all this stuff to the back, if it'll let us. Some of these aftermarket ones, they decided to put round holes where there's supposed to be oval holes, and oval holes where there's supposed to be round ones, and all sorts of fun stuff. But you want to come back and connect all these cables back onto the inside of the panel here, where they go, if it'll let you. Some of them might not let you. They might be too broken. They might be too far gone. I don't know. And just feed all this back in here. But don't forget, you also got to feed it back onto that stupid plastic thing. That is just dumb. It is a really, really incredibly dumb setup that you've got to fight with this. They don't give you an armhole big enough. Maybe for, like, you know, one of these little Asian guys that are building these things, they can get their arms in there, but fat guy like me, ain't happening. Oh boy, I think we got it. But then you're supposed to get all that connected too. Get all your wires put back on there. I mean, you got to do this full on like Ray Charles style. I'm telling you, it's not fun. It's just not. I mean, maybe you have fun with it because it's a giant puzzle. I'd rather build a 5,000 piece Lego set than do this right now, because it's a lot easier to do the Lego set. You know, let's build a castle or something. How about that? Oh, I heard that one click, which made that one fall out. All right, I think we got all the wires back in. We got all that other stuff back in, and now we can get our door panel back in. And it's got to go up a little bit and rest on there. Wow, what a messed up thing that is, eh? What do you guys think? I mean, just how dumb can one thing be? All right, because it needs all that support apparently. Woo! What do you guys think, man? Then you got to get these rubber boots back through, which are pushed all the way back in, because, you know, that's fun. So we got to fish the rubber boots back through. I mean, just realistically, good luck. That's all I'm going to tell you is good luck, because they didn't make this fun. Well, they made it fun. They didn't make it enjoyable. How about that? Yeah, there's the other one. Pulled through. That's the worst part of it. Yes! All right. Whew. All right, now that you got all that back on, we can start going back together. We're gonna mount our screws back in. We're gonna mount our speaker back on. We gotta line up this hole, put that screw back in with the window, which you can get to that through the speaker hole, which is how most things are. You're gonna put your motor back on and snap all these guys back into place, put it all back together. So we're gonna go ahead and start zipping this thing together real quick. If you guys wanna watch me, you can. It's a struggle bus, so I'll tell you. Even from like a guy that has like 3 days experience like myself, it's a struggle bus. What in the living, bleeding criminy? And it's a lot easier when you can see. Let me tell you, a lot easier when you can see. Why are these not lining up now? Honestly. Okay, we got to get all this lined up. There's something that's just slightly off here. I'm not quite sure what it is, to be honest with you. But we're going to figure it out, because obviously something's off. Just ever so slightly, right there. Just got to get them started. It's, whew, man, they really made that fun. I don't know, man. Does that snap all the way into that piece? Wow. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. Wow. They sure made this one fun, didn't they? So if you're struggling, it's okay. I think these are designed for you to struggle. It's a struggle design. They just, I don't know. Whoever thought of this? I don't know, man. Maybe it should be drug out in the streets and tarred and feathered. Because it's not a good design. Arguably, it's a very poor one. It just seems like things are just slightly off everywhere. Just ever so slightly everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a piece that's just slightly off. That could be because it's aftermarket. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm going to loosely set all this in here. And then we'll come back and we'll tighten everything up. Oh, that came out. Well, Jiminy Christmas. Honestly. There we go. All right. Whew. Who needs a gym today when you got a door panel to do? Just saying. All right. Struggle bus. Struggle bus. It's a struggle bus of a window regulator. Yeah. All right. We're gonna get the glass set on here now. And that's just got a couple little clippy doodabbers. So it sits on and then it lines up that screw right there that fell out earlier that we found. And that's another fun one to put in because it's in that hole and you don't want to drop it. So if you have to, put a little piece of electrical tape on the head of it so it doesn't fall out of your socket, or just be really good at your balancing act. And that's the guy that holds it to your window. And at this point, if you want to, you can grab your door panel, depending on how confident you are in your own work. You can grab your door panel. Once you get your motor mounted, you can plug in your motor, plug in your chingadares here for your little flippy doodabs on the panel, and you can see if it works. I'm pretty confident in my work, which might be a dumb idea. So we're going to go ahead and keep on plugging away and putting this all together. What do you guys think? No? Perfect. All this comes back together the same way it came apart. That just twists in. This guy slides out here, plugs in. Same thing here, top and bottom. They're different sizes, so they're really hard to mess up. It's amazing to me how these things just kind of float in here. All that just plugs in there. That's going to bow dangle. Here's the beautiful thing about aftermarket parts. This is our plug for that hole. I don't think that's quite right. So they gave us an oval and we got a round. So that means that guy doesn't get a plug, which is okay with me. We're going to orient our motor, put that guy in, and away we go. That'll just fall right into place. Sits in the little gears there. We'll start the screws, hopefully. All right, we're gonna figure this out. I think something's not built right here. I think these holes might be slightly off. We might have to modify something for this to work. We'll let you guys know here in a second. 'Cause something's not quite right here. And I don't like it. What a royal pain in the butt. The 8mm. Whew. Got that done. So you guys missed it. I'm gonna do a little bit of modifications to make that work. I would take it apart and show you, but I'm afraid it won't go back together. But they did those. We measured it. show you guys what happened. This bolt lines up. These two are supposed to be a 4 3/4 inch gap, and they're a 4.5 inch gap. So what I ended up having to do is grind down the little, there's little raised sections behind here that the motor rests against, kind of sits over. That keeps it from clocking, from rotating. I'm not too worried about that, honestly. This should be pretty good. We've got this one set. These are in the factory holes, but what we end up having to do is grind down those two high spots real quick, and then just angle these a little bit so that they actually went in. They did, they went in, they bit, they're tight. So we're good there. Not too terribly worried about that having an issue in the future. If it does, we'll take it apart. We'll have to get the right part. But we're gonna go ahead and build the speakers back in. We've got all that locked in on the window. You're gonna go through, just reconnect all your stuff, and test it. You should be good. So it's interesting, these aftermarket ones. You know, Hyundai doesn't really like to supply a lot of aftermarket parts. See, not Hyundai. Why do I keep calling this a Hyundai? Kia doesn't seem to want to like share their information or something. I don't know what's going on with them, but some of this stuff is just off enough, and it just kind of is what it is. So you got to be aware of that. These were off slightly, so we had to make that work, but everything's in, it's tight, it's flush. So we'll test it here in a minute. We'll get the panel, we'll clip it onto here, we'll fire everything up, and we'll make sure the window's going up and down. But yeah, sometimes it's just the way it is, especially when you're in a rush and you're trying to get something done before you head out of town. I'm gonna be out of town for 3 weeks. So it's part of the reason why we separated this. We can keep giving you guys some really good footage, or really crappy footage. I don't know what you think, but we're gonna get some of this tape out of the way so we can function this window. Let's see what it does. Make sure it goes up and down, because that's the ultimate goal. Even if for the next 3 weeks we just got to make sure the window is staying all the way up for weather purposes, that's my main goal here. If we've got to come back and tear all this apart again, then that's what we've got to do. It's just part of the job when things don't seem to line up right. But you can't get this from your local supplier, so it's like their mold was slightly off. We're gonna go around and make sure everything's tight. We'll show you guys the finished product here in just a second. All right, so one of the things before you put your door panel on is make sure that all your little Christmas trees are all in place. This one came off nice. Sometimes they pull out from their little keepers, but this one actually came off pretty nice. You're just gonna go back, reconnect all your stuff. This guy just slips in here somehow, some way, and you know, just get everything reconnected. Reunited like you know you should. Make sure all those guys are lined up. That guy will clip in. We'll double check that it's working. That seems to be working. We'll get this guy clipped back in down here for our power. I gotta do that one somewhere, somehow, some way. I'm not even looking. Look, no hands. Oh, am I close, Drew? I gotta be close to it. Guess I could put my eyeballs on it. It's gotta be close. Oh, we were trying to go sideways. That was the problem. All right, clip that guy in. All this should be just resting in there, nice and pretty like. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna hang this on the door before I snap it all together and put that screw in. We're gonna make sure we test this window. So what we'll do is jump in here. What's it? We'll just key on to the run position. And let's see if this window goes down and goes up. There you have it. It's working. Again, they get to play with all this sap that's on here now. But we're just gonna go ahead and bang all this back into position. That's all we do. Pop everything back in. We'll throw that screw in. We'll put this corner piece back on. Mum's a word. We're good to go. Everything's done. She's working. Maybe I ought to like check the door real quick, see if it opens. Should we risk that? There's two ways to do that. We can actually do it just by latching on that side and then playing with this, because the problem is if this doesn't open, it's gonna be fun to get it open with the door closed. So we'll test all that. We'll make sure, but there's no reason it won't work. It'll work. You never took off the cables. Of course it's gonna work. and we can feel the resistance. So all that's good. Don't forget to put this screw back down here, and you got yourself a brand new window regulator with just a couple of headaches. Man, could have made this easier. Anywho, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you're following along for more fun adventure like this with blinding light in my face and all that kind of good stuff. So we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. God loves you even more. And remember, stay safe. Get your safety squints. Wear a hat. Have a shirt on while you're doing this. You know, those are the safety techniques that you need to make sure you're adhering to. But most importantly, to be the safest is by liking this video and by subscribing down below. We love you guys. We appreciate you all. Catch you on the next one.